It's got to be stuff that stands out.
And I think it also helps that when you are entertaining in that way, and the reason why entertainment often gets this priority is because you get that emotional, response. You make it reduces those feel-good chemicals in the brain when we are feeling entertained and you're made to laugh or are feeling good, that prolongs that, or reinforces that good connection with the brand and with your business. Your business's success depends on relationships with customers, relationships with employees, and relationships with stakeholders. What do they all have in common? They're all human. Because no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Welcome to the Human Connection Podcast. I'm your host, Karl Ponto. Each week I bring you stories, insights, and practical advice from experts that you can apply to your growing company and daily life. This week I'm excited to connect with Vance Morris. He helps business owners get, serve, and keep clients for life through creating experiences and response-required marketing. He is a former birth control factory security guard turned Disney leader turned bankrupt out-of-work executive turned carpet cleaner turned successful entrepreneur. Congrats on a wild career and welcome to the Human Connection Podcast.
I appreciate it so much, Karl. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have fun. Sorry for the delay there. Something skipped. My apologies. Let's go.
Yeah, it's natural to have some little technical issues sometimes, but I'd love to hear more about how you help your customers create clients for life, or clients create customers for life, because it seems like a big problem a lot of companies are facing is keeping those relationships going beyond the initial transaction.
Sure. Well, it really starts with when you get the customer. So I don't talk about lead generation or pay-per-click or any of that stuff. That's definitely not my wheelhouse. But you get the customer, now what do you do with them? And so I work with my clients on looking at their entire customer journey and how to create experiences in each one of those touch points, because that is setting the stage for customer retention. If your customers don't have a good experience or just have an average experience, or worse, one that's not memorable, well, you're making it a lot harder for your retention systems to do anything. So we really got to start there by creating these experiences that get people thinking, oh my God, you'll never guess what happened when the plumber showed up today. That's really the reaction we want to get from the customers. But so let's say we have done an incredible job. We've created these magical moments. We've created these emotional connections, and it's time to put in a retention system. Remember this one fact is that it is not your customer's job to remember you. It's your job to remind customers that you exist. And so having some kind of existence system, and it's got to be a system. It can't just be random acts of marketing. So mine will look like a combination of print newsletter, postcards, emails, blog posts, and a combination of those. And we do them every month so that we constantly remain top of mind on that customer. Now, like I own a carpet cleaning company. Do they really need to hear from me every month if I just clean their carpet? Well, yeah, they do. One, we got all sorts of other services we can provide them. But two, we're staying top of mind, and they are then saying, oh yeah, I had a great experience with the carpet cleaner. Oh, Freddie down the street was asking for somebody. Oh yeah, now I remember who I used, Eastern Shore Carpet Cleaning, and we can do the referral. So there's a lot of overlap between customer experience and customer retention. And like I said, it's got to be a system. It can't just be random things.
Yeah, I think it's initially, like I said, it's about that providing an exceptional experience when you're working with them, and then making sure that you keep the relationship going. You don't let it kind of fade and die off, because it takes a lot more work to rebuild it than it takes to maintain it. And with the right messaging, that's not just buy more stuff from us, but it could also be other community building messages that you put in these newsletters, or like encouraging people to recommend you to their friends and family, that sort of stuff, or other ways to build the relationship beyond just a series of transactions that help you stay top of mind. Because if you're talking about like how your company is active in the local community, or like you're sponsoring like a sports team, or you're promoting other like events that are going on that like families might be interested in, your target audience, your clientele might care about, you can have all these other messages beyond just here's the sale we're doing right now that help you stay top of mind when people are ready to buy, but then also show how much you have in common with them on a human level, on a way we live in the same area as you, or we go to the same sort of events, we care about the same sort of causes. And those can all be put into these regular outreach, like this strategy for the content that makes it so when people see a message from you, they don't think, oh, just another like sales pitch. It's, oh yeah, maybe there's some cool event I can hear about that they're talking about, because I would have missed out on this thing going on that my kids would really enjoy, but now I know if I get an email from this company, they also have all this like local what's going on stuff, that this makes you more connected with your audience beyond the business side of things. And that's what makes it easier for you to maintain the business side of things, because they don't just expect you to be selling to them all the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, I certainly don't recommend selling to people every month. I mean, you're going to burn a lot of bridges, and people are going to get tired of you, which is why we do the print newsletter. It's not a sales tool at all. I mean, it's a sales tool in disguise, but it's set up kind of like Reader's Digest light. Interesting stories, things that are entertaining, could be community events, and all of that is put together in a newsletter and sent out. The only real call to action is, hey, if you got a friend or neighbor that's, use our services, let them know about us. That's the extent of the sale. So it's 4 pages of, again, community content, Reader's Digest stuff. The biggest, the most popular one we have, the section in the newsletter is stupid criminal stories. People, for some reason, just absolutely love hearing about what dumb criminals are doing. And you got to remember, you want to entertain people too, because that's the society we're in. I mean, just look at what we pay Kim Kardashian and what we pay a high school teacher. Who is more valuable to the world? Well, I would go with the teacher, but our society places all the emphasis on entertainment. So in our marketing, in our outreach, in our communications, we need to be entertaining. Can't just be vanilla or beige or anything like that. It's got to be stuff that stands out.
And I think it also helps that when you are entertaining in that way, and the reason why entertainment often gets this priority is because you get that emotional, response. And it reduces those feel-good chemicals in the brain when we are feeling entertained and you're made to laugh, or are feeling good, that prolongs that, or reinforces that good connection with the brand and with your business. People think, oh, I'm going to get this thing, I'm going to enjoy the experience. It's not going to be drudgery and frustrating. So it makes it, again, that kind of reinforces the behavior, which you can see on the societal level. But it's important to understand that's how your audience's behavior works, and that's kind of how the brain works. So you can't just assume that because you're really excited about some new product or feature or service you're offering, that they're going to be. But if you understand what your audience cares about and can tailor your outreach and your relationship building content to what they're going to respond to, then it'll make it easier for you to maintain those relationships, because you keep reinforcing that you make them feel good to interact with, and that'll keep them coming back. And also, again, referring friends and neighbors because they want to share that good experience.
Yep, certainly. And it's not always about making the sale, although selling helps. But creating that emotional connection is really, once you create the emotional connection with a customer, they're never leaving you. I mean, you got to really screw up royally, you know, to have them go somewhere else. And I mean, there are all sorts of mechanisms. You know, I always recommend people use different parts of their life in their communication to their clients, because people like to, I'm not saying I give you shoe size or, you know, stuff like that, but, you know, I shamelessly use my children in my marketing. And it's designed to create emotional connections with all of my customers so that they know, well, hey, all right, the guy is a real guy. He's not just a, you know, owner. It's not a faceless company. And two, people remember my kids. I actually have, my daughter was used to do ballet all the time. And every year I would take a picture of her in her little tutu. This is back when she was like 5 or 6 years old. And I'd put it in my newsletter. And so we did this for 6, 7 years. And one day in the grocery store, this woman comes running up to us, my daughter and I, didn't even come run up to me, came up to my daughter and said, "Oh my God, Emma, how was your recital?" Now, I got no idea who this lady is, but I thought about it. She goes, "Oh, she must be one of my clients. She has watched my daughter, all of my children, grow up. I've created an emotional connection with her. She's not leaving me until she either moves out of my area or dies." And I think that's the kind of customer loyalty that everybody should be aspiring toward. Now, you got to use your kids? No, I mean, you can if you want to. But, you know, are you a fisherman? Do you like to basket weave? I mean, whatever it is, anything that's going to make a connection with your audience, aside from your new whiz bang tool that you got to clean with, nobody cares about that as much as you do. So don't even mention it.
Yeah, I think that there's this, the inclusion of more of who you are as a person and what your life is like that people can relate to, especially if you're a smaller local business, is really important. I guess it also it applies to any sort of larger businesses as well. It takes more people doing that for it to have an impact. But especially if you're a small business owner or of a small team, having more of the people and their lives shared with your customers, that in ways that aren't necessarily specifically related to the work, but it's like, here's who the person is that's going to be coming and like cleaning out your gutters or like working on your plumbing. If they feel like they already have something in common with them, that makes that whole experience way more enjoyable and appealing, because it's not some stranger coming over to work on their house. It's, oh, these guys that his kids play on the same like soccer league as ours, or that went to the same high school, or that are like we will also vacation in that location, like that same spot. They have something in common that builds that trust and that connection, and it again, it makes that experience a lot more enjoyable. And I can see why so many, like the standard like marketing and positioning strategies that have been so prevalent the last like 20 years of this kind of very generic, like sanitized, kind of approved by corporate and like the legal team messages don't work anymore, is because they don't have any of that humanity behind them. It's all, people can smell when something's been overly produced and is kind of inauthentic or inhuman, for the lack of a better word, is too businessy, and they really crave that sense of connection and humanity behind the people they do business with. And so I can see why your clients get the sort of success they have when applying what you do for them, because it brings back all that humanity to their business. And it especially when there's just so many options for people to pick from these days of who they do business with, that that human connection is a great way to differentiate in a way that other people can't easily replicate, and actually will build much stronger relationships then could be broken with just, oh my, your competition has a sale on this week, I'm going to go with them instead.
Yeah. And, the thing is, we're all in commodity businesses. I mean, a dentist is a dentist is a dentist. I mean, a carpet cleaner is a carpet cleaner. And there's the only thing that separates all of these businesses is the experiences that that company provides. And part of that is, as you're saying, is the personality of the owner, personality of the business coming out, so that when it comes to choosing a company, they're not just reverting to the age-old question of how much. And price is, I don't want to say price is irrelevant, but price becomes a lower determining factor because you've made that connection, or you've used some other methods to get your value out there, whether you've written a book or you're posting, good articles on LinkedIn, et cetera. Not always the salesy stuff, but the stuff that will deliver value. Then when you come to talk about price, people are like, well, that's not so bad because you've already built the value up.
Yeah, and it's something that I'd imagine, I know we talked a little bit about this before we started recording, but I'd love to touch on that. You have a background in working with Disney, and they're probably the epitome of exceptional customer experience when it comes to everything they do. And so I'd imagine that experience and that expertise in customer experience helps you when you're working with your clients, because there's so many things that, even though Disney is a huge company, that how they approach client experience can be applied to any sort of business.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not that you want to copy what Disney's doing, because I'm going to guess most of your listeners don't own a roller coaster. They don't own a theme park. They don't have a cast of characters running around. So I get the question all the time, well, why do we want to compare ourselves to Disney? Why do we want to copy them? And I'm like, well, you don't really want to copy them unless you do own a theme park or, roller coaster. But you do want to look at what they're doing and adapt it to your business. So one of the examples I always like to use is, when you go to Disney, you wait. I mean, you wait in line for everything. You wait in line to get on the bus. You wait in line to get on a ride. You wait in line to get food. There's a lot of waiting going on. Now, Disney knows that this is a problem because it can't feel like a long wait. It's got to feel like a short wait. So Disney knows how to compress time, manipulate time. It's just like anything else. I mean, you go to a conversation and sooner or later you look down at your watch, oh my God, it's been 40 minutes. You don't even realize how fast time went because you were enjoying yourself. You were engaged in a good conversation. So Disney does the same thing with their lines. They have what they call liner-tainment, where they entertain you while you're in line to make you feel that the wait isn't so bad. So, they'll have characters, they'll have interactive stuff. They'll have apps that you can use while you're waiting in line, so you can play games with the Disney people, all these different things. So we translate that into our businesses. Well, in our businesses, our customers wait for something. They wait for us to show up at their house. They wait for a proposal. They wait for the results of a test. So how do we take what Disney does and adapt it? So we've got to find ways to compress time, especially at the beginning of a relationship. Like if you're promising a proposal, what are you doing in the amount of time from, when you say you're going to send it to the time they actually get it? It could be a week. So what are you doing within that week to let them know that, your business is very important to them? Are you sending videos? Are you sending, did you send the proposal by FedEx? I mean, hey, there's a way to, compress time, send the, I talk with them. My customers always seem to, I can't afford FedEx. That's what they like to say. And I'm like, all right, well, how much is one customer worth to you? And they'll say, oh, well, the initial thing might be worth $2,000. And I'm like, you can't spring for a $9 FedEx in order to get a $2,000 sale? While all your competitors are emailing, you're FedExing. You're showing that customer that your time is valuable, you're valuable, and this is what we want our relationship to be like. And so to me, if somebody emails me a $50,000 proposal and somebody FedExes me a $50,000 proposal, which am I going to give more credit to?
The one that put in more effort to get you something that is like tangible and real and not just another like automated, potentially like thing.
You know, and with the mail, even FedEx or US Postal Service or whoever you use, you can also add things to that proposal that you can't do electronically, right? Can you include a video card, you know, those cards that you open up and they, you know, there's a little video screen and it plays a video in there. Can you include food items? You know, hey, while you're looking at the proposal here, feel free to munch on these handmade cookies by the Amish people up near in the county near me, blah, blah, blah. You can cram a whole bunch of stuff in a box with the proposal and make that much of a bigger impact. I'll give you a quick example. So when I'm looking for opportunities to speak, or if I'm looking for larger clients, I have an entire sequence. And the first part of the sequence, I send an 18-inch tall Mickey Mouse plush through the mail with a little letter. Now, that's going to get somebody's attention, comes in a big box, versus me sending just a little envelope with, you know, a sales letter in it. Which one's going to get noticed? Which one's going to get lost? I get people calling me, well, I'm not really ready to do business with you, but man, this was a cool idea. Thank you. So you gotta think outside the box when you're, you know, doing this kind of stuff.
I love that idea, and I think it's a great way to highlight how important it is to create exceptional experiences for your customers. Thank you so much for connecting with me today, Vance. If you enjoyed this episode of the Human Connection Podcast, please like, leave a review, and share it. If you'd like to connect with myself or Vance, check out the links in the show notes. And remember, no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Happy connecting.